Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeromy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeromy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to The Prize Inside, the Whole Health Weekly edition. Hopefully you guys are having a good night. I was messing with videos today, so I'm pretty pumped about that. Kind of got there and started messing with like clips and things. I wanted to learn how to do a little bit more of, some organic, basically, advertising for our Prize Inside, because we keep growing in reach. I love that. So, surprisingly, the podcast has always been my thing, like the audio piece, just to watch that keep growing. And we're up to like 5,200 downloads. And the Rumble channel, you get like my people on there have really impressed me. I'm up to I'm touching 80. I need like 20 more people. And then I will be on like 100. And then I get some things I get to do in Rumble or something. And so that's kind of cool. But I love the organic, because if I can do with the true voice of things, it will be fantastic. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the nights that we are having the interviews. I think Dr. Kim Russell was fantastic. I got a few other interviews lined up. So I'm hoping to do that and get a lot of people that they're ordinary people that figure out extraordinary things, right? So that'll be cool. So before we start, I just want to make sure that we're doing it. If you are new to me and haven't joined this, I need you to get on our newsletter website. I need you to do this. It's free to do. It's tribe1.substack.com. So tribe1.substack.com will get you to a newsletter, and that newsletter will be information that we do, here and there, different aspects of it. So tribe1.substack.com, trib1.substack.com. The other thing is I want you to look up a Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey. And that is on Rumble. And you can also do that, a Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey, on YouTube. I need you to subscribe to those. A lot of my patients aren't as tech savvy as some of my younger ones. And some of my older ones didn't know how to subscribe. So I've been walking them through at the office, like, listen, get on here and you can watch some of these shows. You don't have to be on every time, because a lot of people catch me on Facebook, which is great, but you don't get the cool content later. Facebook doesn't keep it, so you can't watch the video later. So I get a lot of questions, like, what was hibiscus? Like, what was it good for? And, those kind of things were kind of hilarious, like listening to, patients going, I go, well, if you stop just watching on Facebook, you can go to YouTube or Rumble and you can watch it live and you can watch the replay. That is so important to do. So if you didn't know that, that's where we're at. So if you catch us on Facebook, go over to one of those other channels and you'll get to see all those like old episodes as well. All right, cool. All right, so let's get rid of that. So remember, tribe1.substack.com. So let's look at tonight. Whole Health Weekly is always about, this is episode 64. And tonight is always about looking at the trends, looking at the health trends of the week or the few weeks, and seeing what's in the news, maybe in your face all the time. Because you got to remember, the people of this world want your money. And a lot of times we can't necessarily trust everything we're watching on all the things. Now, are they doing it nefariously? I wouldn't say that all the time, but are they promising a little too much? Or is it a promise that says, hey, this wasn't so good for me, like eventually, right? And so that's where the innate intelligence of the body can really, really show us things. So the innate intelligence of our body is the self-healing, self-regulating organism. It has the ability to heal itself at all times, right? It's literally, how you've heard AI can think for itself, that the human body does that same thing. It learns. It's with us. It's part of this universal, this universe. And so what happens is that it's a learning organism as we go. Our job is to get out of its way in three different areas, because three different major areas: thoughts, toxins, and traumas. Okay. So thoughts, we get constantly fed different thoughts, scary movie, bad news, all the different things, right? Toxins, you have so many things, from our water supply to air to name it. Right. And all the alls, food, obviously. And then traumas, where falls, work, all of those things lead to interferences to your body's ability to have this perfect intelligence. And that's what we kind of go through and see if some of the trends are aiding us in the ability to have the best innate intelligence we possibly can, or do they hinder it? Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And let's start without further ado. Let's take a look at the trends of this week, or this last few weeks, because we've had some interviews in there. So the mainstream as of 2026. So the focus still remains on ongoing trends like the GLP-1 medications. That's making the news again, because there's a lot of pills out there. So now, instead of like an injectable medication, now there's some pills. And I have a few articles just to be wary of what that's doing. Remember, when you have something from the outside the body trying to mimic what's in the body, then your body inherently learns that you're getting that element from a different source. Great example. Let's use melatonin. Melatonin is produced by the body. When it's produced by the body, what happens is, if we take melatonin, let's say to sleep, so we start taking it instead of our body naturally producing this melatonin, what occurs is that the body will stop making it because it's not a priority. Okay. So GLP-1 is no different. And that's one of the major issues. So GLP-1 is kind of mimics this hormone that tells you if your body is full. Okay. So you have to have a signal. So your body always constantly has different signals, like, ow, you have certain types of pain fibers, nerve fibers that, tell you if you're putting your hand on a hot stove, right? Or you have, fight or flight responses, and you have the chills. And I'm just trying to think of different things. You shiver when you're cold. All of these things are subconscious signalings that happen to give your body a response. There's hormones in your body that you literally communicate just like your nerve pathways. And it's like your chemical communication system. So our body's built with an electrical system, essentially, with Man, it's so crazy how much. So we have the electrical system of our nervous sound like a car, and you say, okay, maybe the hormone system would be your like sensors in there, those kind of things. And never forget, we have this biofield, right? We have this biofield around us that would make up our, in a computer world, our Wi-Fi. So think of that way, right? So these GLP-1s, one of the problems is you're telling the body. So GLP-1 tells the body, and it mimics the hormone that tells your body you're full. Okay. So GLP-1, your body makes that hormone. Okay. So it makes that hormone. The problem is when we introduce it artificially, what happens? The body says, hey, you're making the hormone already. So why would I waste my time? And then it stops making it. That's one reason. The major side effect is once you get off of it, you're almost guaranteed to, what I'm hearing, I don't know necessarily, but you end up with, gaining all the weight back because you've now lost the hormone that tells you that you have the ability to be full or not. Here's the other problem I have with it. GLP-1 tells your body you're full. If you have an empty stomach, then what happens? So all of your systems of your body think your stomach is full. When you think your stomach is full, your stomach acid starts changing. Your pancreas starts producing insulin. Your liver is active. Your gallbladder is active. The kidneys start becoming active because it's all part of the digestive process, right? The problem is podcast audience. So sorry about that. Hopefully my podcast is still running. Okay. So I think it came back. Okay, good. That was wild. All right. I think I'm still streaming. Yep. Okay, good. I like blinked out there for a second. Okay. So okay. I apologize. I apologize. That stinks when that happens. It's just been glitchy tonight, so I don't know. Anyway, so that's the GLP-1 expansion. There's going to be a lot of things. Ozempic faces made it to the news because a lot of Hollywood people look like they're dying. So a lot of times, I don't know if that's the look we want in our life. I'd rather not see that, but it is what it is at this point, right? So it's like people are literally getting zombified, which is unfortunate. But so AI and wearables going mainstream. Okay, so we talk about this a lot on our shows. Hopefully, I didn't lose all of everybody, but we talk about this a lot of times. AIs as wearables is a problem sometimes. Okay, so there's two reasons it's a problem, and we'll do this quickly. Because of the anxiety it creates with people wearing something that is a constant, like a fear mechanism. So think of like blood pressure, right? Maybe soon it'll be blood sugars, or something. My poor people that are diabetic, they constantly are looking at their blood sugar numbers, and it almost causes them more anxiety in that situation than literally not knowing their number, right? And so that's what's going to happen with wearables a lot of times. That's why I'm not against at all the technology that's coming. The biggest thing is understanding. And so for me, as a holistic guy, there's going to be some cool technology wearing it on you will mess with your biofield pretty significantly. So we don't want to do that, as all of those things go. Okay. So let's keep going. All right. All right. All right. Okay. So here's another trend. Let's see. Let's look up. Oh, here's a good one. So this is a social media viral trend that's happening right now. Home remedies and healing hacks. Okay. So posts, this is off of TikTok, Instagram, X. So this one is bedtime. Okay. So posts on bedtime before midnight for accelerated healing. People are taking quercetin, bromelain, zinc, vitamin C combos for viruses, earwax removal, salt gargles, and chicken soup for bugs, and they all get solid traction. I'm trying to read how this works. Okay. Ringworm alerts. Okay. Red spots. Yeah. So there's a lot of different ones. Home red. Okay. We should have done that different. It didn't break it down like I wanted it to. But it makes sense, right? What have we talked about with Zaces? So Zaces is what? Zinc, vitamin A, C, E, selenium. You add vitamin D in there, a little quercetin, a little quinine, and you got yourself the best flu remedy out there. Okay. So remember that. Zaces, vitamin Z, zinc, vitamin A, vitamin C, E, selenium, quercetin, vitamin D, and K2 and magnesium. You get all that in there, your immune system will be glorious. So remember that as you go. The biggest thing is all of these things are trending, but if you've been with the Whole Health Weekly, you've known all those before. Earwax removal. We should probably do that sometime with the ear waxing. That'd be kind of fun. It's gross, but it works. If somebody's heard the ear candling before, so it's a candle. It's a holistic thing we see a lot. The Amish people that I work with for the herbals, they have some ear candles. You can get them at stores, a lot of things. But you can actually, what happens is they put this earwax candle on your ear, and then they light the other end, and it creates like a vacuum, and it kind of sucks the wax out of your ears, right? So that's kind of a cool way. We should probably do a show on that if people aren't if people haven't seen that before. A lot of people that they start going down. What's crazy? I'm back, I think. Sorry, guys. What's crazy is how amazing StreamYard Labs, that's what I use, has been for this. Really haven't had this issue, but then we've had some like internet like ups and downs, which it's like out or this. It's just kind of like a little slower. So I apologize for tonight. But anyway, so let's go into Dr. Mercola's stuff. I got a bunch of good articles in here that I thought were really good in our conversation with the opportunity that's going to be there. The GLP-1s, like all of those things are going to lead to one of the articles that we're going to talk about. So the first one is rapid fat loss. Okay. So this article is done by Dr. Joseph Mercola. Okay. And we're just going to read the highlights. So why rapid fat loss can cause diabetes and liver disease. New research suggests that when your body changes too fast, it may release hidden stress signals that can disrupt blood sugar balance and strain your liver. Fat tissue does more than store excess calories. It acts as a protective buffer that keeps unstable fats contained so they don't circulate through your organs and damage your metabolism. Research on a rare fat loss disorder shows that when the body loses functional fat cells, blood sugar control worsens, triglycerides rise, and harmful fatty acids increase in the bloodstream despite having less body fat. When fat cells stop working properly, their energy producing mitochondria become damaged, and the cells begin releasing inflammatory distress signals that accelerate metabolic dysfunction. Okay. Rapid weight loss from crash dieting, prolonged fasting, exhaustive exercise drives intense fat breakdown that floods your bloodstream with stored fats linked to diabetes, fatty liver disease, and organ stress. Gradual fat loss through stable nutrition, avoiding seed oils, building muscle, and preventing overtraining allows your body to replace stored fats slowly and protects your metabolism while improving your body composition. So one of the things that's really key to this entire aspect is it's true. In our holistic thing, we say if your fat will is a protector. So like we said many times, the innate intelligence of the body is genius, right? It's crazily, it's super intelligent. It would not just have fat there to just have the fat. Okay. Fat cells are not like an enemy to the body. They literally give you storage of energy. Okay. So that's one. They are a protective mechanism for those toxins we talked about. sometimes you can store up some really nasty toxins into the fat cells. What they're saying is the body, if it can lose weight on a normal path where it stays within what I call homeostasis in a normal pathway, where we're not overloading the system's body regulation, then you can really, really do good things with not having too much toxicity. The way to think about this is like your body has this homeostatic mechanism, right? So the body has this homeostatic mechanism very similar to your thermostat in your house. You set it at 70 degrees in your house. The outside temperature is going to go extreme cold and extreme hot. Okay. Our body's job is to keep it within 70. So it's going to use mechanisms, right? In our house, they use a furnace or an air conditioner, right? To bring those mechanisms into that homeostatic environment. With your body, though, if we put it through something like an excessive fat loss, it's kind of like one of the two are not happening. So let's say it gets so cold outside that your furnace can't keep up with the temperature that you set it at. Let's say you set it at 70, but it's minus 70 outside and the wind's blowing like crazy and your furnace is trying to keep up. That's what your body will go through in some kind of excessive fat burn, right? That's why people have so many issues with the surgeries, like the different stomach staple type surgeries and everything else. And they're so adamant when they do those surgeries to make sure that you're like vitamined up like crazy, because if you don't, a lot of times your organs start to do things. Part of it is because toxicities get released within your body that aren't the greatest thing, and it'll mess with and if you have toxicities, where does it go? The liver has to process it. So we're going to bust out the liver, like we're going to make sure the liver's got to overwork, leading to liver problems. Diabetes, a lot of times it's a pancreas insulin issue, right? And so that pancreas and insulin have a hard time, regulating, because you've lost so much excess fat energy. Okay. So that's just a good article, I thought, for today's age. Just watching that, try to regulate or learn to eat to lose the weight, right? Learn a different pathway. That's where Rachel's program is so fantastic. But, if you ever need to talk to somebody about it, let me know, because eating to lose the weight, learning how to do that changes your brain. And then you literally have control of this stuff. Okay. So that was a good article. Let me get to my next one. All right. Ooh, I like this. Okay. So this one's kind of a cool one. This is not by Dr. Mercola. That's why it's harder to find. All right, let me see. Sometimes he takes you on this thing. Oh, not that one. He does this all the time. Okay. Nope. Dang it. All right, let's go back. All right, fine. Okay. Let's go back. Oh, here we go. I like this one a lot. Okay, so this is Dr. Mercola again, and this one's called "How Personalizing Your Nutrition Can Manage Inflammatory Bowel Disease." Okay, so the subtitle is "Chronic Digestive Issues, Fatigue, and Unexplained Weight Changes Often Trace Back to Hidden Imbalances in Your Gut Microbiome," which we have a program for. Oh, there's a reason, right? You guys I've talked about it a bunch. Inflammatory bowel disease, IBD, impacts between 2.4 to 3.1 million Americans, costing the economy $50 billion annually. Symptoms include abdominal pain, diarrhea, and weight loss. Diets high in refined sugars, vegetable oils, and ultra-processed foods disrupt beneficial gut bacteria, reduce protective fats, increase intestinal permeability and trigger chronic inflammation. Before I go on this piece, they say that a lot, that the diet is a key factor, and it is for sure. But I come across people that actually eat fairly really, really well, and they always wonder why. It's almost more frustrating to them. Like when somebody has a crappy diet and their gut goes crazy, they kind of understand, right? They understand why. And so even if it's still hard for them, like getting through, like we do a whole gut microbiome detox in our office, and it's phenomenal. It's like really, really good. It's intense. And that's what sucks. It's like sometimes it's a tougher thing to go through. But, as you're doing it, the big thing is like understanding that the gut microbiome you're not born with. You actually are born with no gut microbiome when you're a baby. You get your gut microbiome from 3 sources that'll happen. The first is mother vaginally. So there's 3 layers of gut microbiome. So when you're born, you get, mom's gut her vaginal microbiome. What if you're a C-section? So now you're out that microbiome. Okay. So think of layers of kind of fertilizer for your gut. The next one is when mom and dad kind of start holding you, and you get the gut microbiome from there, plus breastfeeding. So let's say there was a C-section involved, plus not breastfeeding, right? So now we're kind of behind the 8 ball. Okay. So our gut microbiome might not be perfect at that point. Now, once we start eating solid food, so we're with mom and dad, we're starting to move around, even though let's say we're at a C-section baby, we had a little bit of gut microbiome, and then we are we didn't get breastfed, so we still don't have a great microbiome, but eventually, your body keeps up. We ate really healthy and all those, and so we're sitting pretty good. So then you get up to the ages of when you start doing solid food. When you start doing that time frame, the child ends up with what essentially would be our adult microbiome layer. So it's like 3 layers of microbiome that has to be laid. Okay. So it's kind of like, I don't know, just laying foundations into the gut microbiome. Now, the problem is there's so many situations. One, there's a lot of C-sections out there. It happens, right? So that's going to happen. Second one, how much breastfeeding was happening. Sometimes it's still a bigger percentage than it used to be, right? I think for a while there was generations of that people didn't want to do the breastfeeding for whatever reason. They were talked into like doing the other stuff. And then, so all of that stuff is kind of trending back, but we're already kind of behind the 8 ball with, that already. Right. And here's the kicker one. This is the one that frustrates my really good eaters. I was like, if I get my gut bacteria from my mom, and if I get my other part of that gut bacteria, let's say from my dad, okay, what if their guts were messed up? So let's say your mother had all kinds of problems before she just was pregnant, and she was on a massive antibiotic, right? Oh, speaking of that, this is just food for thought. If you guys hear this out there, because all my glitches, I don't know if anybody's watching tonight. Remember this: I had a patient ask, if you're on an antibiotic, right? If you have to take it for some reason out there, make sure that you understand you're gonna work on your gut microbiome, because he's like, okay, I got on this antibiotic for my ear. I want to, get my gut microbiome. So I'll start tomorrow and do probiotics. I go, don't do that. You don't have to until you finish the antibiotic, because you're just going to kill off the probiotic stuff you're using anyway. So you could take it as you go, but it's kind of a waste until you get to the end. Once you finish the antibiotic, that's when you start doing the probiotic. Okay. It's not going to hurt you to do it. It's just a waste of time. So anyway, so we'll go back to that. So that's how the gut microbiome builds. So then all of a sudden, if your parents had crappy microbiome for many years because they didn't know any of that, right? Then they hand that off to you, the baby, right? And then you come up and let's say you eat all this great food, but you still are having those gut problems. That's where it's coming from. A lot of times we have to build that entire gut microbiome back up. I have some of the healthiest eaters in the planet try to have all these issues in their gut. And it's that they think, they're eating perfectly and they cannot they always have these issues. So we have to go back and regenerate, create the layers back of this microbiome the best we can with the knowledge we have. And what's cool about the program we have at the office, make sure you're asking because it's worth it. People feel good. People feel real good on it. So just to let you know that was a good article. So remember that. So yeah, that is I'm sorry. I haven't got through all that yet. Sorry. I just got get on these tangents. I apologize. So we're still reading that article of how personalizing nutrition can manage inflammatory bowel disease. Okay. So now there's new research emphasizing tailored dietary approaches using biomarkers. So AI analytics and multinomics data to identify individual food triggers and healing foods for each patient's unique biology. I'm excited for this because I think that's going to help a ton in getting people's gut microbiomes back on track. So a lot of times, in my opinion, this is just my opinion completely, I don't think we're insensitive to anything. I think it's just the level of gut microbiome damage that has happened that you have to replenish. But I don't think we're there in the sense of understanding the depths of what we have to do. And so I think anything that leads us to, so a good example is I'll have, some kids, let's say you get a child from like an impoverished area, let's say as an adopted child. Let's say they come from a third world country. Maybe their gut microbiome is so messed up, like almost like zero, that, are the normal gut microbiome cleanse or, getting them to eat properly doesn't get them there. And then the reason is I think we're missing a few pieces to that, as it goes forward. So I think as we gain knowledge in like how to replenish this gut microbiome, we'll have very strong guts. And that's what the gut microbiome is so important. And I think we're getting there. It's just on the top edge of society. And that's why I want to make sure we always talk about it because there's so much stuff out there. I was just talking to a lady. She was taking a prebiotic, postbiotic, and a probiotic. So it was she had a supplement for a prebiotic, a supplement for a probiotic, and then a supplement for a postbiotic. I'm going, honey, I don't think I would look for, so a prebiotic's fiber, just to let you guys know. So a prebiotic is the fiber, the bacteria, the gut microbiome need to stay alive because you have to feed the organism, and fiber is the way you do that. So you can do that through vegetables. High fiber vegetables are a really good idea for that. In a lot of supplements also, they should have prebiotics. You should almost never have a probiotic with no, fiber in it. That would be insane because then it would be a dead probiotic, in my opinion. So a lot of these things are trying to get you to buy several things because, nature doesn't sell. Nature doesn't sell the numbers like Ozempic and all those places are selling. You're talking like trillions of dollars. Beetroot juice doesn't really sell like that. So they got to sell a lot of it or get you to buy a bunch. So that's the problem. until the magic thing. Isn't that funny how nature works? I always think that, like, you can't reinvent nature, and so it's really hard for people because we're always looking into, making money of some sort, right? So, which I understand. I totally do. You pay for this ad and you want this ad to go, and it's got to make money with this supplement, or medicine or whatever. And the whole time they gotta oh, I love they gotta give you a magic trick to say it's this wonderful thing, a lot of times, and that's where it gets overpriced. And that's what is really frustrating about the world we live in, because it's constant, just coming at you all the time. And that's where, hopefully Whole Health Weekly will help you out there. But okay. So that one was a good one. So remember, personalizing our gut nutrition is going to help these IBD people. And the way it's going to do that is it's going to say, soon we'll be able to know exactly what causes the IBD to keep the person away from those things that are the trigger that causes the inflammation or the immune system to freak out in their gut. And then once that occurs, right, then we can take those away and start giving that gut what it needs. Okay. So that's what they're talking about with personalized nutrition, because they're going to be like, okay, right now, an IBD person pretty much knows what they can't eat because they don't like it when it's a bad time, really bad time when that happens to them. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, I love this. Okay. So this one is another good one. Man, he had some good ones today. Yeah, I do this YouTube video too. Okay. So this one has a YouTube video attached to it. This is Dr. Mercola writes the article though, but why nature aligned health is your best defense against chronic disease. Many of today's common health issues share a similar root, a growing gap between modern habits and the conditions your body evolved to expect over thousands of years. The fundamental philosophy of health is alignment with nature. Does that make sense? For millennia, humans thrived without pharmaceutical intervention. Nearly every drug known to medicine carries unintended consequences. Virtually none address the root of the cause of the disease. They treat consequences of the cause at best. Medical errors are the third leading cause of death in the United States. Whew, that's crazy. Claiming an estimated 250,000 lives per year. Iatrogenic death caused by medical care itself, represented a staggering toll that the medical establishment has been slow to confront. And it's not really their fault, I wouldn't say. It's the system's fault. Okay. So when we say this stuff, these medical people are trying to help people as best they can. But when the system is broken, when it's a sick care model, when people only start taking care of themselves when the worst symptoms on the planet start showing up, that's a problem, right? So it can be very, very tough. Approximately 90% of the calories consumed by Americans come from processed foods, which are the primary driver of chronic disease epidemic. The more food is processed, the more likely it is to cause metabolic damage, mitochondrial dysfunction, and systemic inflammation. Seed oils like soybean, corn, canola, sunflower, and safflower oil are the single most destructive dietary components in the modern food supply. So, soybean oil by itself, consumption increased more than 1,000-fold from 1909 to 1999. Linoleic acid intake rose from under 3% to over 7% of total energy, driving a parallel rise in heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and neurodegeneration. That's the biggest key to all things. A lot of it has to do with the oils and the processes that we've done to mass do the food of our world, right? And we just have to find a better way. So, any therapeutic approach to health, whether food, supplement, or medical intervention, should be grounded in the foundational biological reality that humans evolve with over the millennium. When you deviate from this principle, the law of unintended consequences is virtually guaranteed to apply. So, what I will do, I will show this. I want to play this video, see if it works. So I'm going to play it right off of Dr. Mercola's website because he's awesome. All right, here we go. Dr. Chris Knob. Oh, this might be too long to play.
Ladies and gentlemen, could the seed oils be the primary cause of the diseases of civilization? Heart disease, hypertension, stroke, cancers, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, obesity, Alzheimer's disease, macular degeneration, the list goes on and on. And could these so-called heart-healthy vegetable oils actually and ironically be the primary cause of heart disease and the major cause of all these other diseases of civilization as well? Take a look at this front page of an article from Harvard, if you would. Now, dare I have the audacity to question the Harvard School of Public Health? And the nutrition department of Tufts University? And the nutrition department of Mayo Clinic? And the American Heart Association? Yet that is exactly what I will do today, and this is exactly the hypothesis that I will present and defend today because I believe in it.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing there, but if you want to, go to drmercola.com, get on there and watch it and find the seed oil one, why nature aligned. I'm not sure if I can play a ton because I don't want to get YouTubed, that kind of thing. But basically what we have to come to a conclusion, right? Science is as strong as the ability to defend it. Okay. And I was listening to a guy today, and it was very interesting because they were talking about it was like physics, right? And one of the things that makes science so strong is that you never trust the science. You never trust it. And the reason you say that way is because I want to beat the trust up so bad in the science that it becomes something. Okay. So if I stop questioning it, so when you say to me, trust the science, that means you're saying stop asking questions. Just trust what I'm saying. Might be the worst statement I've ever heard using science, as nerdy as I am. Science is supposed to be questioned at all times, right? And what we've done is we've taken little pieces of information and not put it under scrutiny all the time. And it blows my mind that it would happen in healthcare, like it does, but it's at the same time, it's something we can learn from, right? So it's been years. It's not like one company. It's not anything crazy like that. It's just over time, we would say, trust that this is okay for you. It was like when the FDA, I think maybe it was a different organization, but they had to do an apology letter to the egg farmers because they found out, hey, by the way, we need to promote more egg people because it has B1 in it. It has a bunch of good chemicals in there that our body really needs, and it's not as bad for us for cholesterol as we thought. That's a thing. Right. And so a lot of times when you start looking at it from that end, the thing that gets me, and that's why I wanted to play that front of that. Look at, I mean, the highest research supposedly in the world, when something comes out, we say, oh, you know, look at that. It's over. You know, like all these, this new thing popped up. There won't be any, I mean, this will be better than nature. And that's the problem, guys. Nature proves it every day. You can question it as much as you want. You can keep questioning it all the time. You can throw it into every experiment, right? All the nature stuff. Here's a good example. You want to grow a beautiful plant in the ground, right? I know the nature wants really good soil around that plant. And for me, the science has proved that if I put really good soil, water my plant really, really well, I have a really good shot at having a really nice plant, right? And the science says that if I don't do that, I have really junky soil, really toxic soil, you know, bad environment, right? Not a lot of water, you know, those kind of things. The science says we are going to, you know, not have a great plant. Once we do like one experiment, 2 experiments on something, we go, okay, it's good. Everything in health should be constantly questioned. Constantly questioned. Everything, including all supplementation, nutritional, herbal, all of it, right? There is no dogma. Trusting the science is the worst idea ever. Because that's science is the art of questioning. It's the art of understanding that, creating a theory, going deeper into that theory, right? And that's what we do. We rush. You know, I feel like, you know, somebody finds this is what it feels like in social media to me, and I could be wrong. So I'm kind of ranting tonight, guys, because I glitched out like 3 times. So I don't even know if anybody's watching, but hopefully you guys will pick it up later. Now I forgot what I was saying. Dang it. Oh, that sucks. Okay. But part of it is like just understanding it constantly, you know, questioning what's happening. Oh, that's what I was saying. So a lot of times on social media, all the internet and all those things, I try to stay off of it because of the simple fact that it feels like we're chasing for these $1 million things in health, right? And there could be that, but it feels like almost every time I see an interview, you know, people are in a lab trying, it's not to make, you know, the most powerful blank. It's to see how fast I can get to the next, you know, the next big, you know, lottery ticket, right? So that's what's so tough about now. But I think we're getting to a point where, you know, I think even, you know, the medicine is seeing that is not a good plan either. You know, the amount of medical people that I know that I absolutely have so much respect for are really doing the same thing, right? They're in a situation where these sick people are coming to them, and sometimes those chemicals got to get done, man. There is no other at that point. But if people would engage in their health prior to needing that major sick care, it would be a lot better. So, all right, I'll leave that one. I apologize for tonight, guys, but that's so weird when it blow. So let's do. Oh, I like this one because this one's a good one because I agree with it 1,000%. So we'll end on this one. Yeah, so let's do that. So this one's Dr. Mercola, and it is sleepless nights linked to comfort eating and overeating. So researchers found that even one stretch of poor sleep quietly shifts your brain and appetite signals, making certain cravings stronger and meals more irregular. A large study of more than 27,000 adults found that poor sleep quality and short sleep duration strongly increase emotional eating, overeating, and cravings for calorie-dense foods such as sweets and fried meals. People with the worst sleep were up to 3.5 times more likely to eat when stressed, bored, or upset, showing how sleep loss shifts eating from hunger-driven behavior to comfort-driven behavior. So biggest thing is improve your sleep habits, like getting in consistent bedtimes, right? Sunlight. I really want to do a talk on, enjoying the sunrise, enjoying the sunset, starting to get out into those. I'm trying to make that a habit myself, like to make sure you're out in that sunrise and sunset. Try to get those sleep patterns in the right direction. Okay. So my last thing, let me look if there's any good other ones. So far, we're good there. I think that'll be it for tonight. And again, I apologize. I apologize. When you're doing a live stream, it knocks you off kilter when you have glitches. And so that was like all flowing and everything else is good. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it tonight. Join me on Sunday night at 8:30 for 1% Tribe. I think we're going into the herbal world. So if you watch the recording or if you are watching it currently, throw me up a herb that you would like to talk about if there is any out there. I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing this weekend. So it's kind of fun to go over the herbal and understanding what that herb does. The last one we did was hibiscus, kind of blew my brain and like how great it did. But go subscribe, Tribe1, TRIB1.substack.com. The Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey on Rumble, the Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey on YouTube. So with that said, you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Have a great week. Hopefully in Michigan, it will stop raining all over the place and it will be fantastic. So with that said, you guys have a good one. Take it easy.